Shalin Sirkar is a psychic healer and filmmaker and is the owner of Kismet Rising and Chalia films.
In 2013, my film Minesh, my directorial debut, premiered at the Venice Film Festival, one of the first of few South African films to premiere there. After years of hustling in the film industry, learning the craft, developing relationships, and sealing the confidence of investors, I was finally poised for my career to take off as a director of long-form cinema. A month later, I fell ill. I was diagnosed with a disease not commonly found in my age group. And even though I wanted to, and I tried, I found myself unable to continue working. I had very little energy, and it was reserved for my daughter, a toddler at the time, and fighting that disease. My condition left me unable to engage with my daughter as any mother needs to, and as any child deserves. Passing out in the playground became a regular occurrence, along with ambulance rescues in the early hours of the morning, with my little girl accompanying me to the hospital. The father of my daughter and I had split soon after I'd received the diagnosis, and even though he took care of our daughter at times, I felt extremely alone in having to carry the weight of the responsibility of caring for a young child, earning a living, and fighting a disease. In the next few years, I scrambled to find solutions to my health crisis that wouldn't plunge me further into disability. You see, I refused to accept that I would have to live with a stoma bag for the rest of my life, or that my life expectancy would decrease as a result. I was also adamant that I would not be labeled. I was not my disease. I refused to advertise my poor health. I felt that if I shared my status, that I would not heal from it, but that I would become it. I was much more than my illness, and I was determined to overcome it. I deactivated my social media accounts, and I spent the next 5 years as a recluse. The years were long and drawn out, and I felt shame for my health status. I felt I was losing a decade as my life came to an agonizing standstill. I felt impoverished by my waning confidence and being a ghost of my vibrant, dynamic past. It was difficult to approach friends and family, to see the pain in their eyes. I shared my despair and devastation with a handful, and to those I am eternally grateful. I remember as a 5-year-old being told by my parents that I had healing hands. In my late teens, I dabbled with tarot cards and with various other divination techniques. At university and my early years in the film industry, I read tarot and I did healing treatments with clients as a side income. The disease rendered me completely clairvoyant. Don't ask me how. I have no idea. All I know is that I was walking to a room and I knew what people were thinking, what they'd had for breakfast, conversations that they'd had with their spouse, or what they'd be eating for dinner that night. Before long, the inability to leave my bed, the need to have an income, and to expel some of the information overload gave birth to Kismet Rising. I began Kismet Rising when I'd received news of being over the illness. However, I was still not out of the woods. In 2018, I discovered I had developed other diseases, which led me to have several interventions and a stent at the age of 40. It didn't stop there. I continued to have several STEMI heart emergencies, which left me debilitated again. In between hospital visits, I worked and I grew the YouTube channel of Kismet Rising, lending me to an international clientele. I offered psychic readings and healing, and I worked as a medical intuitive. I furthered my studies in psychotherapy and studied to be a Heilpraktiker, the equivalent of a naturopath in Germany. I used psychic energy to help clients align with their soul purpose, to develop strategy for businesses, to assist doctors in identifying rare diseases or solutions for their patients, as well as to assess public policy. In December of 2019, after having another STEMI, I was frustrated I stopped all my medication. I found after 2 weeks that I was strong enough to fly to South Africa again. I took my daughter out of the German primary school she was attending and enrolled her in a distance education program and flew home. I began to rehabilitate myself and reintegrate myself back into community. I learned to surf and sail. I'm still regaining my strength. I have good days and not so good ones. But I'm determined to get as much out of this existence as possible. I feel so incredibly blessed to have been given another chance at life. I'm Shalin Sirkar. I'm a psychic clairvoyant and healer. I counsel and help people find their inner voice. I merge my art, healing, filmmaking together in a beautiful balance. I'm a child of this universe, and I'm a proud African woman.